Welcome to Beyond the Mirror with your hosts Adrienne Varga and Jodie Fielden. In this podcast, Adrienne and Jodie take you on an intriguing journey beyond the surface, deep diving into the world of business in the hair, skin, beauty and wellness industries. From business success tips and marketing hacks to industry insights and trends, it's all here. They leave no stone unturned. So get ready to unlock your full potential, evaluate your business, leave behind the limitations and embrace the endless possibilities that lie beyond the mirror.
Hello and welcome everyone. It's great to be back. We are recording episode 15 today. I'm Jodie Fielden and I'm joined with my work wife, bestie and business partner, Adrienne Varga. During these podcasts, we share how you can leverage your passion into profit. Whether you're looking to launch into the next phase, take time away from the floor, or you're looking to sell your business and cash out your investment, you're in the right place because we've just about done it all and we're here to share with you that you can too, because it's time to believe your business can be everything you ever wanted.
Absolutely. And hello, everyone. Welcome back. And we are very excited about today's episode because we're going to talk about how to become the best boss in town. Yeah,
it's going to be a good one today. It's tongue-tied. We're all a bit tongue-tied today. We've been hearing a lot in the media and a lot on Facebook and everything. And some of the biggest complaints that we get from people are that they can't find team members, like they can't find staff. And they're not sure what to do about it or why they, I think someone said the other day they had 3 people leave at the same time and they just don't know why they're all leaving because they all come back and say that she's a great boss. But is she though?
Yeah. It's a very, very good question because obviously, it's a great thing when someone is leaving, you are asking for feedback, but we need to keep in mind that there must be a reason why they are leaving, because if that everything would be in place and everything would be encouraging for them to stay in the environment, they wouldn't even think about looking around or leaving the business. And I think because there is such a shortage in our industries, this is when we really need to think about it, how we can become the boss in town who everyone wants to work for. People are waiting for your salon or studio to have a position available, and you're going to have a couple of CVs already waiting for you to look through and straight away find the right person to work for you. But in order to do that, you need to become a leader. You need to become that boss that going to have this great reputation, running a wonderful business, being able to pay your team members amazingly, so they don't think about it that they need to go somewhere else to fulfill their dream or to be able to pay their bills. Because how many times, isn't it, in groups we are hearing about I need to leave my salon because as much as I like to work there, but I can't make enough money to pay my bills. And this is when it comes back, you need to look into everything in your business, and that includes your numbers, because you only can pay your team a good money if you have the basic setup, so your prices are supporting a lifestyle for yourself and for your team members also. So this is a mindset which is not coming easily when we start our business, isn't it, Jodie? Because we talked about it so many times that we start our business out of passion, not because we understand all the mechanics behind needs to work in order to run a successful business.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of most people that go into business for themselves, their biggest driver is that they don't want to work for someone else. They don't enjoy the way they're treated. They, like you said, they don't believe they're getting paid enough. And all these things, generally it is the biggest driving factor is I don't want to work for someone else because they don't enjoy the experience. And I think if you are someone that people like working for and they're getting remunerated well, they're not even going to be thinking about starting their own business anyway. And that is unless they are really passionate about, like, they want to grow a business. So there's a big mix in between it. And I think the person that I was referring to before, that I heard her complaining, saying, everyone said, I'm lovely and they love working for me. My question is, well, why is it that 4 people have left consecutively? If you're lovely, then it's something else that you're doing that's not right. So I think that's where that mindset about whether you have an employee mindset or whether you have a leadership mindset, and then learning to be a leader versus being a boss, because I think a lot of people struggle with, I don't like I don't like telling people off, or I don't know why they won't listen to me.
Yeah, and it's absolutely right. You can be the loveliest person ever, and people would love you for your personality, but you can be the most confusing and most challenging boss to work for. It is because being a boss and being a leader, it's 2 very, very different positions to take. So when you know about management and managing your team, this is when you will know what people are look for, because when people are working for you, they don't really look for to have a friend in business. Yeah, we want to be friendly, but they need a leader. They need someone who pulls and keeps the business together. Someone who can give directions. And this is so many times, it's very, very difficult for people to actually direct their team members to do certain things, or asking them to do certain things. Delegation is one thing, but everyone is trying to shy away from, because we believe that we have to do everything, and it's quicker and faster for us to do things on our own. But you can be the most beautiful person, but maybe your personality is not strong enough to be a leader, and your actions are confusing your team. And confused people, they don't like to stay in that environment. It's just like a puppy. I always bring up puppies, because I only have, fur kids. I don't have, real human kids. But just, puppies and puppies, what's the difference between behavior? It is a master or a leader versus to someone who doesn't know what he or she is doing. They could be the most loveliest people, but if the puppy feels that the puppy doesn't have a master to listen to, what happens? They try to take over, and it's going to be behavioral problems. And it's exactly the same in your business. So when that person told, I don't understand why they are leaving, it is because, you must be, and you are a beautiful person, but the environment what you are creating, it is because your own insecurity and not knowing what to do, it is actually making it very difficult for people to work with you.
You were reading out just before, what was that quote? You had a quote that you were reading.
Yeah, so this quote is something what when I'm teaching leadership, we start from here, because this is a quote from Murray Parker Foley, and I'm just looking at my notes. So the quote is the following: you have power with your team, not over your team. And this is exactly the difference between a boss and a leader. Because when you are a leader, you actually understand, involvement and working together with your team. It's almost like, imagine, like you are want to, climb a mountain, and you go first, and then you help all the team members to come, and you pull them up with you. You leading, but then you help them to actually get to the level where you are. But when you are a boss, the boss mentality is more overpowering. And this is when it goes and ends up being the power over manipulation instead of, like influencing people and helping them to become, more. When you have a leaders are understanding, that they are different type of people we are working with in our business, and everyone has their strength and their weaknesses, and they actually very, very savvy about it to find those strengths and weaknesses. And leadership, we need to learn to become a leader, because leadership is psychology also. We need to have psychology behind, behaviors and, understanding human behaviors, understanding body language, understanding the words, what they are saying, and everything else. And when it comes to bosses, they just want things to be done. They don't care how it's going to be done. That is, my way or the highway. And that can be very, very confusing for people also.
Yeah, the boss, especially it's in the media a lot at the moment, the whole boss thing. So you see everyone saying, I'm a boss babe, I'm a boss this and boss that. And it's actually a really negative, it just brings up so much negativity. And if you think about it, it's that ego that comes first, instead of, it being more about how can I make the best environment for the people that work for me? How can I achieve what I need to achieve for my business? And it coming from a place of positivity. And like you said, you're helping people up with you rather than, standing behind them and like banging them with the stick to make them do what you want. Because the thing, when everyone complains about no one listens to me and they don't do what I ask, I think that used to be one of my biggest complaints, was I've asked them so many times and I've told them how to do it so many times and they just don't do it. They don't listen to me and they don't think for themselves. I wish they would think for themselves. And I wish I had have known back then as much as I know now. Is in hindsight a great thing, that I wouldn't have been so frustrated with them all the time.
Yeah. And it all comes back to learning leadership, because one thing what we need to understand, we are the owner of the business. The reason we have a business because we have a different mindset, or, like we're thinking differently. But we need to tell to everyone who works for us what we want from them and how we want it. And this is when it comes back to systems, team training, and everything else. Just to expect them to think the way you are thinking, and, to figure it out, they should know, like how many times I have to repeat. And that's normal, like we all feel the frustrations, right, until we realize it's actually all comes back to us, because we are incapable to managing people. Mm-hmm. That's on us not having the knowledge at all. And just for a moment before you go, I just took some notes, because it's very, very important, and connecting to what you were saying is that when it comes to leaders and bosses, leaders they serve their team, and bosses want to be served. And there is a huge difference.
I love that. I like that. That resonates probably more than anything that we've sort of spoken about at the moment, that line, leaders are there to serve and bosses are there to be served. And yeah. I think that's a really good point. And I guess that's where it brings it into the kind of language you use. So the language that you use can give everything such a completely different light, just the way you said that, and I think this is probably where you'll be able to explain a lot better than I can. I'm the linguistic circus, but Adriana's the one that has all the insights.
Yeah, so the language what we use is very, very important, and our language can be spoken language, but also our body language. it's very, very important. And most of the time we don't understand the body language and, the way we are saying things, how important. And it's actually, it was a research being done, when people were asking people, how they feel about or how they make up their mind regarding, about communication with others. And many times people are saying, it's not what you said, it's how you said it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the words are not very important in the manner of your way of saying, the tone of your voice and your body language. The words are very important also, but in the same time, we need to understand it's a holistic whole, the way we are communicating with our team and with everyone else. And I think it's a very, very important part of leadership to learn, actually, to manage emotions, to manage to be able to manage your voice. And even if we get angry, not to do or say anything in that moment what you're never going to be able to delete. So this is when I always teach when we talk about leadership. If you get upset during a conversation, you don't need to keep engaging. You're just going to say, all right, just leave it with me and I will get back to you tomorrow. Or just leave it with me and we can discuss tomorrow in the afternoon or whatever. So we should not feel the pressure of actually sorting and solving everything right there and right then. And when we are upset, it's never going to take you to a good way and to put you in a good position when you just react instead of responding.
Yeah, and most of the time that's where business owners get themselves into some hot water, is because they end up saying something that they shouldn't have said in the heat of the moment, and you can't take the words back. The old saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's not true. Words stay with you forever, and the impact that those words have on someone stays with you. Like the broken bones and that will heal, but those words. And when you're angry, you can actually really impact, especially if it's a junior staff member, you can really impact their life just by your frustration coming out and saying to them something really negative about, like, oh, you can never do this, or you'll never amount to something, or, you won't mean it, but it'll just come out. And then that just sits in their mind forever. And it impacts so many different parts of their life that you actually have a really big responsibility to be careful about what language you're using with these people, because you may not realize how much influence you have on their life. And when you do what you just said then about stopping the conversation and pausing, that actually also gives you your power back. Because a lot of people lose their power because they get into an argument of this backwards and forwards, and they can't articulate what it is that they're wanting to say or what they're wanting to achieve. So they do give their power away. I'm banging my microphone here. So by doing that and I've got the dogs plonking around as well. So if you can hear that, guys, it's Rosie and Rufus trying to join in. And the thing is the best trick that you ever taught me was to stop engaging and say, I will come. I'm not going to take that further right now. I've heard what you've said. I need to go away and think about it, and I'll get back to you whenever. And we're doing it from a good place, but it's a strong power move too, is that, all of a sudden the ball's back in your court and you get to hold on to it until you're ready.
Absolutely. And this is one of the major part of, leadership and learning to be leader. But just going back a little bit, like when it comes to management, I think leadership comes with to learning to manage yourself, manage your words, manage your body language, and manage the way you are communicating with your team. And when it comes to, like argument, or when it comes to communication, the other thing which is extremely important to understand, people mirror people. So they will mirror your behavior. So if you stay in control, if you stay calm, and if you stay articulate, doesn't really matter if someone is actually yelling or being rude, but if you stay your ground, I think this is how we say it, then that person has no other way that calm down, because anything as they do has no effect on you. So this is
you've got to make sure that you don't, what you were saying about body language, you've got to be careful that you're not poking the bear either. So when you are staying calm, don't, sometimes it can be antagonistic when someone's doing that as well. So you've got to do it in the right way, from a good place, and not from a I want to get you kind of place. I don't know how to articulate the word I'm looking for there, but you know what I'm expecting.
I don't think it's a good idea actually to ask people who are upset to become or to be calm, because that's just a fire on a fire.
That's gasoline.
So
I wasn't meaning tell them to calm down. I was saying, like, when you're being calm, when you're being the calm one, you've got to be the calm in the good calm, and not the, that calm that can actually,
So and again, it's the triggering one. If you are like a triggering calm, then you're manipulating. So then you have the boss mindset. So when you are a leader, you are completely different. And this is when you can handle the situation and you are in control, because obviously the other person who is already lost it, they are not in control whatsoever. And it can happen. But this is when it comes back basically to leadership. And just remember, people mirror people behavior. So it's your responsibility not to mirror the person who is upset. Your responsibility to stay calm. And if you feel like you will lose it very soon, because it can happen, this is when it's time for you to say, you know what, I don't think this is the right time and right day to discuss this further. How about if we both go away, think about it, come back tomorrow, and let's talk about it. Or just, start our day in a cafe, let's spend 30 minutes to have a coffee or a juice or whatever, and we can sort this out, we can sort this out. But this moment is not the right moment for that.
Exactly. And I think it also comes down to where we start looking at the different personalities, about how you can handle them when they're in that red zone, or escalating into the red zone, and also what language works with the different personalities. I might get you to explain. Now, I know that there are 4 personalities.
Yeah.
Can you explain the 4 to us, and then we can kind of have a look at understanding what each of those personalities mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to, we call this in NLP, we call this representational system, which is, the 4 different personality. So some people, they are really good when they hear. So they are auditory. Some people, they are really good to obtain data when they see things. So they are visual. And then we have people who need to feel. It feels good for them. It feels good. So they are kinesthetic, because it's all about the senses. And then we have the 4th, which is on auditory digital, when it almost goes back to self-talk. So auditory digital people, they need a lot of data, and they actually spend a lot of time talking inside in their head. And the 4 different personality requires 4 different ways to manage people. You're going to get along with people in your team who are similar to you. Because you will know yourself and you will recognize the similarity, and it's going to make it easy for you to deal with it. But then you're going to have team members who are very, very different from you, And this is when communication is not going to meet unless you learn how to manage someone who is totally opposite to you. And that's really something, again, what we need to learn, because the auditory and visual people, they are very fast-paced people. They get everything very, very quickly, and they don't need lots of details. But then we have the kinesthetic and the auditory digital people who needs a lot of detail, and they are quite slow because they consider things slowly before they make a decision. So one is fast-paced, the other one is very slow, needs lots of details. So if you are a boss or a leader who is, say, auditory or visual, so very fast, you actually you can understand everything if you hear it or see it, yeah? And then you don't need too much data, because if someone is explaining too much, you start to get into
So that's me.
A visual or an auditory, where you try to explain something for that person, and that person is already understood everything and already knows what you want to say. So she just wants you to move on. And
get on with it. Yeah. But it's like you're in your skin.
Yes, exactly. But just imagine, like you are an auditory or a visual boss, and then you have a couple of team members who are kinesthetic and auditory digital, and they are very slow. They need lots of details. So just imagine people who needs lots of detail, and they need to have a space to read and understand or feel. And here you are coming as a big storm and giving them information and telling them what to do. And you go with your fast pace. And then what happens, that person who is kinesthetic or auditory digital, they just feel so overwhelmed they can't even say a word to you, because they can't even breathe, because they already overwhelmed with the whole information. And you, if you don't know this, as a fast-paced person, you don't understand what's wrong with them. Like I talk to them thousands of times. I don't understand what they don't understand. And it's again, like if you are a leader or a boss who is kinesthetic or auditory digital, you're going to kill your team members who are visual and auditory with all your shiny papers and, all the plans and all the details, because they are just give me the big picture. I don't need the details because I know how to do. Just tell me what you want and I will figure it out. So this why is very important for us to understand who we are. So first we learn to manage ourselves, and then we need to have a look, our team.
Yeah, it's like, for example, it's you and I, where the complete opposite is that I'm like, yep, got it. All right, quick. I'm going to do this, and then I'll have an idea halfway through about, okay, we need to do this as well, which is, part of being a big picture thinker. But I'm jumping with all this, I would be giving team members like 5 different instructions for like 3 different clients, and this, and this. And then it's, you and I'll have a conversation and we'll be talking, and you'll go, Jodie, stop. That's just, you're overloading me with way too much information. You haven't given me the information, what I need for the first couple of things that you're talking about. Like you've left out all these details. And I'm like, you could, like, how to, like, what details do you need? I've already said what it is. So what more details do you need? And you're like, no, I need to know where it's located, like breaking it down. And I'm like, oh, and so it becomes this thing that the perfect example of what you're saying is that the details person, and so which one is the kinesthetic? So they're the ones that like they need to feel good about the situation. Like I think they're the ones that say it's my gut feeling. If it feels right in my gut, then I can do it. Like this gives me a good feeling, so I think it's the right plan. Because I always thought when we used to say it before that they need to feel it, I'm like, how can they feel the idea? Okay, now I get it in the gut. And that just gives you So, so they're the ones that need to feel right about it and feel good and want to. They need to feel motivated and on board to follow what you want to say. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And normally when I work with our clients about leadership on leadership, first we identify, where are you at, in this representational system. And there is not, you are just one, you are a mixture of everything. But, most of the time people has dominant part. And once you identify your strengths and weaknesses in a way, what you are, then basically what I always teach, then you need to become balanced. So we need to work on the part which is not your representational system. So you will be able to communicate with everyone, every different type of team members in your team, because they won't change their personality. They won't change their representational system. And I always say, when you are a leader, you become a chameleon. You really need to become a chameleon. You need to actually match with each team member's personality to understand them. And this is management. You see, when we're talking about bossing people around, that's one thing. But when you have a deep understanding about leadership, this is when you're going to use your knowledge to help communicate with your team, or to help even these representational systems and personalities, very important when you're going to prepare a training plan for your team members. Because different personalities need to be trained in different ways.
So when you're learning about the personalities, is it something that it ends up becoming a second nature for you once you learn how to sort of balance yourself, or is it something that you have to always constantly work out and go and redo, or do you have to do it for every new employee, or do you get to have a bit of a sense of who's what style naturally after you've done it a few times?
Well, I think it's going to become natural, because there is only 4 different personality, and they are certain words what we are looking for, and also a certain body language and, way they working on tasks, after a while you will figure it out who is who, and you don't even need to do a test. We normally give away a test for our clients to fill out that test, and then we analyze their personality, and then we ask them to give it to the team, and every team member fills out that test, and then we're going to have the business owner to analyze it and understand, and we come up with strategies to manage behavioral imbalances, I would say. But after a while, it's just second nature. And honestly, I believe, 15 years ago, I was an extremely auditory digital person who needed so much data and so much detail. Me being a software developer, details were very, very important. But over time, I learned to balance out. So at the moment, what I have is a pretty balanced. So when I did the test a year ago, my one is pretty balanced. So I'm pretty balanced in visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and auditory digital. It is because I worked on it. And when I talk to people, I learn to either speed up or slow down. But in the same time, say what Jodie brought up as a example, her really fast way of thinking and bombarding with information and switching from one subject to the other subject in 1 minute, 5 different subjects, it is overwhelming. So this is when I learned to say, hello, can you stop for a moment? And we need to, one by one.
And that's teaching people to be able to say stop in those moments. Yeah. That is, I just think that's the most powerful thing that you can give any leader or any business owner or anyone really. is to be able to just stop, take a breath, and bring everything back to where you have control of what you're doing, and you have more control of the situation, because otherwise it does get overwhelming, and that's when I think everyone sort of starts getting frustrated. So I'm just having a mind blank. What sort of other techniques can you use? So if someone is a details person, and I'm the worst for these representational systems, because the 4 personalities. So I've got the fast 2, and then the feelings 1, and the one that needs the details. What are they again? The ones
visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and auditory digital.
Do you know how many years we've been doing this, and my little pea brain still can't get them all? I know the 4 things, but I forget what they're called. When you're teaching people how to, if you teach people how to communicate with their different styles, what's the benefit from it? Like, what do they get out of it, other than, things run smoother, but how?
Yeah, so if you speak their language, then you're going to have a connection. If you don't speak their language, you won't have the connection. And once you understand the representational system, you can actually serve them better, because you understand how you need to give that information for the team member. And just because the team member is not the same as you are, it doesn't mean that they are slow or silly or stupid or they don't care. And this is many times when we think, why they just can't think for themselves, or why they are not understanding. So once you understand this, you actually understand it's your responsibility as a team leader, as a business owner, to actually make sure you're going to drive a communication which is going to meet with that person's personality, person's representational system. They are not going to change. And it's actually not right from us to expect them, to jump out from their skin and come back to a totally different person, because they just there for us, or with us to work, together with us, but they don't need to change their personality. Management is managing different personalities and different behavioral problems, if we have problems. And sometimes, we need to find ways how we can communicate that this is not okay, and how we can actually find a solution, and how we're going to go about it. But I think this one needs to be a subject to another
I was
podcast.
just about to I was waiting to find a spot to get in there and say, stop, we're running out of time. And our next podcast is, we're going to be talking about what we can do. So if you're complaining, then you're looking in the wrong area. So we're going to be talking about the leadership triangle and how to communicate effectively with each of those personalities. All right.
Absolutely.
It's now I've got up here on the screen, we'll have a quick shout out to our virtual retreat. Audrey, would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we are running virtual retreats regarding pricing and fundamentals for your business, because what we realized is that what most of the salon owners and studio owners are struggling with, it's actually pricing and paying their team or their staff well. So what happens, they just catch up or caught up in this catch-22 when they try to, keep people in the business, but the price is not supporting and people are leaving, people are upset. So our pricing retreat is all about for you to understand how to calculate your pricing right, and what makes your business profitable. And we're going to talk about how to do all this without feeling guilty, and also the fear of that someone is going to say something to you. And what we will do and what we are doing in these retreats, we are providing all the tools, and that's including a digital calculator for you to keep forever. And you're going to walk away with using this calculator with your whole price list, and you finish your retreat, and next week you can implement all your new pricing.
So what we're going to do in the 2 days, we're going to review your true break-even budget. We'll have a look at what's profitable and what's not in your business. We're going to help you calculate your prices based on your budget so that you can create your new price list. We're going to do some looking at outside of the box offers about how you can, when you're wanting to do packages and things like that, and how to price those. And we're going to look at how to implement your pricing increases. So we'll give you the steps on how to do it. It's not saying that you just come in and one day just say, we're going to put everything up $5 or $10 this week and just do that whole sweep across the board. That doesn't make sense, and it's not going to help anything. So Audrey's going to teach you exactly how to do that. And she's also going to be touching on things about business owner stress management and self-care. And we'll have heaps of hot seats where we get to take feedback, and you can ask questions, and we're recording everything so that if you do miss part of the day, you're able to catch up. So whether you're in the US, the UK, here in Australia, over in New Zealand, you will be able to, if you miss it, you'll be able to catch up. And first thing in the morning for the UK and the US, we're actually going to go live an hour early so that you guys can jump in before we open the doors up for Australia. And we'll probably let the Kiwis into that earlier one too, because they're in front of us. So we'll open the doors up for everyone except for the Aussies to come in early and ask their questions and go over anything that they may have missed or they wanted to know. So the link's here, and it's focusgdt.com/retreats, RETREATS, plural. And the link for the tickets there, and all the info about what we're doing over the 2 days. That's it for us. What have I forgotten? Oh, our tag. What are our handles, Audrey? I'll get those wrong now. I said the website.
Yeah. So just follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And our handle is at FocusGDT.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye for now.
Well, that was Beyond the Mirror. Thank you for being a part of this exhilarating adventure. Join Adrienne and Jodie next week as they continue to help you unlock the true potential of your business so you can leave your limitations behind and embrace the endless possibilities that lie beyond the mirror. And if you have a burning question that you'd like to feature as a guest on this podcast, just leave us a message at the podcast page at focusgdt.com. So until next time, keep pushing boundaries, keep thriving, and always remember that your success is right here, right now, beyond the mirror.